Welcome back to another episode of Born Again Bow Hunting Podcast.
Shoo-wee! Yeah, there it is, boys.
The old staple.
That's right. That's right.
You sound better this round.
I know. The last couple podcasts, especially when I was editing them, I was like, man, I sounded rough.
Now, Kevin.
Now I got it.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Have you ever had a really bad one where your voice cracked doing that?
No.
I got a
Maybe
lot of
in the
practice. I got a lot of practice. We're almost 200 episodes in, so I got a lot of practice.
He does it a lot during the week, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have 200 Snapchats, like, pretty consistently of,
Yeah.
I truly think that I have, like, undiagnosed Tourette's, like, maybe just a little bit.
That's not where I thought this was going.
no.
Because at work and stuff, and I work with, like, very, very modest people who just kind of, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, they're modest.
Well, there's sometimes at work where I get bored and I give out a shoo-wee or I might make some other noises that anybody can probably imagine what they are, and I forget where I'm at, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When Jerry and his dad,
Yeah, you do.
funny story. So when I remodeled my house, I had Jerry and his dad help me out with a lot of it. And like there was a couple days where I stayed home from work just to kind of help with the process or whatever. And I guess you could probably fill it.
No, you were just... Dad and I were upstairs working. He was downstairs. And every once in a while, dude, he would just, rip one of those off or just yell anything.
Winning!
Yeah, winning was the one he did. He was, I think he was like reworking an outlet or something. Winning! And he kept doing it. And Dad, it didn't faze me because I've been around him for long enough. But I would notice Dad like looking around. And
Is that like a video game thing?
No, it's just like I truly think that I have a small, like, undiagnosed.
Every once in a while, he just yells something.
Like that's your tick?
You should,
seriously. Like it's his tick.
I think I have a tick sometimes because
Like it's not bad enough to get your own TV show?
no,
No.
and I can control it. Honestly, it's just
Just choose not to.
It's just like when I'm around people that I'm comfortable with. Like I guess I just express myself more.
Just let her rip.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
All right, so we'll kind of get into the podcast. One podcast that I've been wanting to do for a while, and we've never had somebody that's been close enough to us where we could ask kind of like the meat and potato questions. Mm-hmm. And to my left, we'll let him introduce himself very quickly, but we have somebody that quit his, we'll call it 9 to 5.
He retired.
He retired from his, thank you, Kev, retired from his 9 to 5 and pursued a career in the outdoor space or hunting. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably, interested or like, how do you make ends meet? And like, just worried about money, etc. Yeah. So we're going to dive all into it. So Aaron, why don't you introduce yourself for the people that don't know? You've been on the podcast before, but obviously.
I don't remember when, but apparently it was February last year. So exactly about a year, right?
Yeah, because it's end of February.
Yep. Aaron Olsen. I run the Next Step Outdoors YouTube and Instagram. I'm originally from Michigan, and just about I think we just hit 4 years in our house. I moved down here to Ohio, and I got introduced to.
I'm just gonna help you.
No,
You're
good.
all right.
All right, keeps falling down on me. Anyways, I found out there was I heard there was 2 or 3 or 4 other YouTube groups in this small area that we're in, one of which are you guys, podcast, YouTube. So that was cool. But yeah, I basically started this whole thing after I finished playing college basketball. I bow hunted from...
Where did you play at again?
Concordia University in
Michigan?
In Ann Arbor, yep.
Yep.
So I started bow hunting when I was 12 in a really difficult place to bow hunt in northern Michigan where there's not a lot of deer, not a lot of bucks. It's everybody says they come from the hardest place to hunt or where they're, everybody says where they hunt's the worst. And I truly believe that was the worst. But basically after college, I got real serious about it. I had time. I had a little bit more money, a little bit, some resources to throw behind this thing, and it started as a blog, which didn't last very long as a blog. I'd been filming all of my hunts up to that point. So just started posting stuff with no real end goal or, I didn't have this dream to be doing this full time. I just did it for fun, more or less. And over time, got more and more serious about it. And the whole idea behind my channel was to just document my progression as a bow hunter. I wanted to get better and better. I saw other people having success and doing these different things that I had yet to accomplish, and I wanted to pursue those things and help other people along the way. So here we are. I think I just looked at the dates today. I quit my job September of 2022. So what is that? 3.5 years ago that this has now been full time, and the repo man hasn't showed up yet. So here we are.
Wait, when did you quit your job?
September of 22.
So you're almost on 4 years, right? Because this is 26. So this September will be 4
Yeah,
years.
this September will be 4 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so 3.5.
That's pretty cool.
So let's just start out with a dumb question because it's been 4 years. Would you do it again?
Totally. I think it was everything is harder than you expect it to be, and the time horizons are much longer than I think you expect. So what happens, and I'm sure you guys can relate to some degree, and anyone else out there watching that is trying to make something of themselves on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, or really in any endeavor, but basically fall rolls around and it's like, this is the year. I got to kill a bunch of big bucks because as soon as I do that, everything's going to be easy and it's just going to take off and everything's going to be good. And I think that everything comes down to consistency over a super long period of time, and you have to remove yourself from the short-term pressure and the expectations. But to answer your question, yes, totally would do it. It's been such a blessing in my life. I've had so much flexibility through, we just had our second kid, through all the doctor's appointments for the first child. I was at every single one. I missed one with our second kid, one just like a whatever doctor appointment is what I call them because I don't know.
A checkup. Yeah.
Checkup. And I'm able to be very present, very flexible in what I'm able to provide in the house. And aside from being gone in the fall, obviously hunting, I'm there for much more than I would be if I was working a traditional like corporate job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, remind me again, what did you do before?
I worked for a staffing company. I was in sales. So like you've probably heard of like headhunters or like a recruiting agency. So I worked for this big company in the Metro Detroit area, and they staffed IT people. So like my big client was Ford Motor Company. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Probably, whatever.
It's been long enough.
You've been 4 years.
But anyways, like a company like Ford, they have such high staffing demands, and they don't have the internal resources to be able to go out and find this specialized talent. So my company would basically, there's tons and tons of recruiters. They'd be reaching out to different companies, trying to pull somebody from here, move them into this spot. And we also specialize in handling the visas and all that stuff. So like we worked with a lot of like foreign nationals, a lot of people from India, and then it was my job to basically like sell these people into positions at Ford, and it was actually pretty lucrative. I mean, it's one of those industries that like you don't ever really hear about. You don't go to school for it. It's not something anybody really aspires to do. But I heard about it after I got out of college, and I mean it helped me tremendously. I mean, it basically set me up to be able to make this jump, because in order to have a long enough runway to give myself time to really pursue this, like we had to bank up some money, and it was like, hey, if we run out of money before this turns into a real full-time income, like you're going to have to go back to work. And I didn't want that to happen. So again, here we are 3.5 years later, haven't updated my resume and don't plan to. So
I'm sorry, I was looking through I was taking some screenshots of the questions that I wanted, but and if you covered it, I apologize. But when you guys moved to Ohio, was that before or after you decided to do it full time?
I don't remember. I think the decision had already been made at that point that it was eventually going to be a full-time thing, and sooner than later, hopefully. But it was still premature. We weren't in a position where we were going to go ahead and separate.
So when you moved from Michigan to Ohio, did you have a job in Ohio for a little bit?
So COVID, it was because of COVID. Everything went remote, right?
Oh, so you could just okay.
So I didn't tell my boss. I just went ahead and moved. Even though like prior to COVID, we were in the office every day, and I was in Dearborn a lot at Ford Motor Company at all my other client sites, but everything seemed to go remote, and it was that weird period where like it kind of seemed like that was going to be the status quo for quite a long time, and I was my wife and I were walking through our neighborhood, and she's like, would you ever, and it was never even on my radar to move here. I always figured I'd be in the Metro Detroit area, or like, there's a lot of really nice areas west of Ann Arbor where there's more like, kind of like out here where it's farmland, and land was at the time like relatively affordable. And I always assumed I would buy a bunch of land out there and just make a long commute into the city. But we were walking, and she's like, would you ever consider moving to my hometown? She's from Medina. And I was like, yeah, no brainer. And like there was not a single con on the list. And again, we just moved and sold. We had 2 houses. We had a rental, and we had the one we were living in. Bought a house here, and then I told my boss, and I was like, I was good at what I did, and I was like, they're either going to be okay with it or they're going to fire me, and I'll get a job in Cleveland doing the same exact thing. So everything worked out, though.
That's crazy. Dude.
Cojones.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't have the guts to do that.
I don't think I would either.
All right, so you moved to Ohio. You're working remotely. How long did they allow you to work remotely before they were like, hey, we need to cut ties? Or did you quit before that?
I quit before that. So we moved in 21, and I quit again in the fall of 22. So I think we were in Ohio just about pretty much exactly a year before I resigned on my terms. Like I think they had started to make some of the more local people come back, but it was just an understanding, like, you know, maybe I'd have to come back to Michigan occasionally for really big meetings or something like that, but like they were totally cool.
We know all about it. Cromer works at Sherwin, and to this day he only goes a couple times a week. So it's like and he used to be 5 days a week. So I understand the COVID corporation, job, whatever. But okay, so my next question would be, during this time, is your wife working during this time, or is she wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, or like, are you the only income at that time, or what does that look like?
So we met at the company that I had worked with, and then during COVID, she got furloughed and then eventually laid off. So there was a period of time where there was some uncertainty. She bounced around a couple different roles. I can't exactly, there was like 2 or 3 different jobs that she had during the couple of years after COVID. But she was in something that was like reasonably stable, had health insurance and that kind of thing.
I guess what I'm trying to ask without being too blunt is like, you were the breadwinner, not your wife.
At that time, definitely.
Okay, because a lot of guys that maybe jump into the industry might have a wife that has might be a doctor.
She's not a doctor. Sadly.
Yeah. So like you might have that opportunity to, hey, I'm gonna go work part-time, or I'm gonna go pursue my dream while we still have the money to bring home the bread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she definitely, she does well for herself, and even through those, like when she was in different roles, like she was making a respectable income.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped, and we sold our 2 houses in Michigan at like the peak of the market.
So you profited quite a bit off of that.
We made quite a bit, but then we turned around and drastically overpaid in the same market to get into the house that we're in now. Yeah. So there definitely was some proceeds that we were able to keep, but it was, I will say, like a big part of this, again, was that runway that we were able to save up, as we were both making good money prior to this. And there was a point, it was one of those things that I kept bringing up, like, hey, I want to quit my job, I want to do this full time. And she'd be like, yeah, when you get to the point where you're making as much money with your YouTube channel as you are working your full-time job, like you can go ahead and make the jump.
But that's
and,
impossible to do both at the same time.
It's impossible because, for one, I was doing really well in the corporate world, and then trying to build this thing on the evenings and weekends, and it just doesn't compute. But eventually got to the point where I was like miserable. Like there's a part of me that wishes that it's like the red pill, blue pill. Like if I was just one of those people that's like okay working the corporate life and like taking, I had a lot of time off, good benefits and all that. Like I'd probably have land. I'd probably, I would have had a lot of, basically what I had to do is go back down to zero and then build this income back up to, now it's getting back to where it's like,
comfortable.
Bless the Lord, like
yeah,
or thank the Lord, but like life would be pretty good if I was okay with that. But I was just like not all right with the idea of never going for it. I thought that would be something that I would regret the rest of my life. I can always go get another corporate job. Like sales is kind of the industry where
Yeah,
you can write your own ticket, and
Yeah.
like I don't know that I would be able to walk into the same income that I had developed over the 7 years I was with that same company, but like
You could do pretty well for yourself.
I'd be confident that within a reasonably short time, like I could be making enough to like not be getting kicked out of our house. You know?
Yeah.
So what was the kick in the butt to do it? Did you have a dream, or I mean, I know it sounds kind of goofy, but like truly, did you just wake up one morning and you're like, I'm gonna do it, or did something happen, or
Like when I finally made the decision.
yeah,
to
yeah.
like,
When you looked at your wife and like, I quit my job, or I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to pursue YouTube full time.
I definitely didn't just quit my job. that wouldn't have been a good conversation. But
Sorry, honey. I just quit.
honestly, it was more of a negative than anything. Like I was just like, like you hear the term golden handcuffs a lot, where like you get into a comfortable job and you kind of have some lifestyle creep. You get a little bit nicer house, you get a newer vehicle, and like all of a sudden you have to make a certain amount of money to maintain that lifestyle. And like we definitely had fallen into that. And we were still living below our means, but like we were definitely like elevating our lifestyle over the years. And it just got to a point where it was like, I don't think this is ever going to happen at this rate. And unless like I just cut this off cold turkey and just make the jump, I don't think doing this part-time is going to work out. And whether this part was real or not, like I felt the pressure of like other people are making moves. Like I'm seeing other people grow. Other people are like taking off and like they have the time and the resources. And, if I don't take advantage of the window that I have now, like it might never happen. Like if I keep doing this part-time for the next 5 years, this whole opportunity might be gone by the time I decide to do something about it. So I honestly got like to the like the most depressed I've ever been in my life, which is like not to say like I've never really been that depressed or anything like that, but like
you were in a low.
It was really weighing on me, and I finally just like again I'd had a million of those conversations with Lindsay, and I'm sure she was like sick of hearing about it. Like, I know you want to quit your job. I know you want to quit. I know you. And I would
She's like, where's the money?
And I constantly would talk about how much I hated my corporate job. And again, it wasn't even really that bad in the grand scheme of things, but like because I wanted to do this so bad, it like the contrast was so negative with this corporate job. So eventually got to the point where I was just like, hey, like I want to do this. And she's like, okay, well, like, let's map out the finance. Like, I'm kind of the finance guy between the two of us. So she wanted to see, like,
pen and paper.
She wanted to
show
see
us the
numbers.
numbers.
Like, where are we at? What's this going to look like? How much are you making now? And, how much long, how big of a runway do we have? What's in our 401k? Like, all that stuff. So I made, like, a really comprehensive PowerPoint
spreadsheet
and, like, put it up on the TV and everything. And it's like, all right, here's what we have invested. If you extrapolate this over the next 30 years, even if we never put another dollar, this is how much we have at an 8%, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
And sorry.
You're good. That's probably bedtime for the kiddos.
No, there's new leases coming out in 2 minutes. So anyways, she was on board after all of that. And we basically said, I can't remember exactly what the date was or the time that was. But basically, like, the idea was, I think that might have been, like, around springtime. And by fall, like, I wanted to quit my job. So, we saved, we tried to cut down on the multiple Amazon deliveries that would show up almost on, like, a multi-time a day kind of deal.
Yeah.
And try to cut that down as much as possible and just bank money. And then fall rolled around. And I remember I went out to... Like I had the date circled on the calendar, but I had like so much paid time off already saved up, and there's like some timing thing with commissions and whatever. So like I went out to Nebraska for whatever, a week and a half or 2 weeks that I had allocated this PTO, and I was like, when I get back, like I just took all my PTO, like I'm resigning. So I did that. I sat down with my boss, and he was somebody that he kind of brought me into. We kind of like grew in our careers together. Like he was, I think I was the first person he hired when he was in a leadership role in the company, and then we kind of like went like this, and we'd just grown together. So we had a one-on-one, and I was like, "Hey, I'm quitting," and immediately he got ticked because I could just see in his body language like he must have thought I was going to a competitor or something else like that, and I was like, "No, it's nothing like that." Like, I'm going to bet on myself and do this. And like the dynamic completely shifted after that. And he was super cool. And honestly, he was like, I'm sure it wasn't like a true envy or jealousy, but he was like, man, you got some stones to like bet on yourself. Like, get out of this corporate job that we've kind of siloed ourselves into and like do something different. And that was the sentiment I got from a lot of those people, that like there was people that had been there their entire career, you know, done really, really well. And they were like, good for you. Like,
that's cool.
Way to take a bet on yourself and get out of here while you can, kind of.
Well, that's cool. You had support though, you know, and they were happy for you. It seemed
I
like.
can't imagine, honestly. Like, I give you a lot of props because I think, you know, for us, I mean, for the average Joe probably listening to this, like,
That'd be extremely scary.
Take that gamble.
Yeah.
We had just gotten married, I think, around the time when, like, we had this like stern conversation, and in the back of my head, I was like, her parents are gonna think I'm this loser. Like, I'm basically marrying their daughter, quitting my really nice job, and I'm gonna be like some type of like loser artist, like living in the basement. And they were honestly really supportive too, though, which was good. But yeah, it was definitely, we didn't have kids yet. She wanted to start trying to crank them out as soon as possible. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to wait a year? Like, cause I'm going to quit my job. Like, that's like, this is happening now. So, you know, as long as you're cool with like me quitting my job still, like, you know, we can work on the having kids thing. But
yeah.
So at that time of quitting your job, I want to talk a little bit about your like channel, which is Next Step Outdoors. How big was your subscription? Or I don't want to say subscriptions. How many subscribers did you have? Like, obviously, you were making some kind of revenue off the channel, correct?
some.
But did you just go cold turkey? Like,
So I wish I would have. I'm sure I have it somewhere. Because I remember I have like when I hit major milestones, I'll like screenshot.
yeah,
So
same.
so I can look back on the dates and maybe I'll dig through later. But I want to say I was it, and it's also funny because everything's relative. So like at the time, I thought I was like this big dog, right? Because I might have had like 8,000 subscribers or something, which at the time I thought was like, it's one of those things you always tell yourself, oh, as soon as I hit 10,000, these brands are just going to be like beating down my door with deals. And then it's 15 and then 20, and here I am like about to hit 30 and still hasn't quite happened that way. But yeah, I was making some money. What had basically happened is I'd started this channel, and I mean, I was posting like old hunt videos or even just like specific deer encounters that I had. I had posted some scouting content of me like scouting public land or scouting a new property, and some of these videos had done decent. And then COVID happened, and I'd posted the video that really kind of took off for me is I had taken this, I bought like 4 of the cheapest Amazon trail cameras.
I watched that video before I knew who you were.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
It's still one of my most viewed videos, but you know, I just bought they're like $20 cameras, and you know, made by these, you know, straight out of China. And
you put them behind your house, right?
I put them behind my house.
On urban deer?
I had an acre lot in
there was some big
in the
deer in
city.
there,
I had some really good deer.
I remember watching that thinking
Yeah.
like, dang.
Yeah, I'd go hunt, not see any deer, and come back and have like 150-inch deer in my backyard. But I don't know. I don't know that I couldn't have shot them, but I didn't have any interest to try to do that. But so anyways, like that video, I never had any clue from the start to even today. It's never like I've had somebody pulling me along or like a really clear roadmap. And that's probably what prevents a lot of people from chasing something like this, is just like the uncertainty. But like I just kept taking the next step. I mean, it's kind of no pun intended, but like, you know, I would just move forward for whatever I could see. I would just do the next thing and do the next thing and do the next thing, and it's turned into this thing. But so I never knew how I was going to monetize. I was just posting these videos. Kind of had I had this goal to like, I don't even know if I truly thought it was possible to do it full time. I mean, that was probably some like pipe dream. But when I posted that video, I had Amazon affiliate links. And like for people that aren't familiar with how affiliate commissions work or affiliate links, basically like you watch this video, I reviewed these 4 cameras, and if you were to go down into the description and click one of them and buy it, I get like 2% or something of what the cost of, which 2% of a $20 camera is not very much, but that video just blew up, and all of a sudden, like those Amazon commission checks were like actually starting to be a little bit substantial, and I just got to thinking, like, man, if I could do this full time and do more videos like this, like, man, I could really like make some money here. So I really relied early on the specifically like Amazon affiliate commissions. So, I mean, I can get into like some of the different, one of the most common questions I get is like, how do you actually make money? How do you get paid?
And
Like,
we're going to get into it, but yeah, no, go ahead. We're not scripted here.
There's no structure.
There's no structure to our podcast. I was just trying to get like the backstory of like, answering all of the gray area questions, because people were probably like, oh, his wife's paying for everything while he's out hunting. Well, we covered that, and like we covered, how you moved, and so we're kind of just digging into it. But yeah, I don't really know where to go kind of right now. So if you kind of want to just keep going, feel free.
Yeah. So the ways that I make money, and there's a bajillion ways that people monetize this thing, and I'm sure just depending on your background or strong suits, like some people get really into the merch side of things and make cool merch and are great at promoting that. I haven't found that to be an effective way to truly make money.
Yeah, I hate merch.
I mean, I think it'd be cool. But anyway, so like the kind of the main buckets that I currently make money, and I mean, it's been this way since the beginning. But there's like the affiliate commissions, and you can do that through Amazon, or there's other like organizations that you can do. Sometimes it's just like a company thing that like you'll see people, and I try not to do too much of this stuff, but like if you sometimes you'll reach out to a company and they'll say, hey, we'll give you product and we'll give you a code, and if people use your code, you get a little bit of kickback. That's a pretty common thing, especially in the hunting space. So, that's definitely like, that's one bucket, the affiliate commission route. Then you have like the YouTube ad revenue, which in the beginning is like pennies, right? And you really need a lot of views to turn into something substantial. But I've been doing this since 2017, and it's almost 10 years coming up on, and so I have this giant library of videos that randomly like turn up for some reason and all of a sudden get hot. So like it's not just like Instagram or Facebook where people just see like your most recent video and then it's gone after that day. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube, and why I'm like, if I could only do, I mean, I'm all in on YouTube. Like the other ones are like, like I'll do them, but like YouTube is the money maker. And I think brands also feel that way. But anyways, like YouTube is beautiful because your videos on there live forever. So like and then not just people can scroll back on your profile and click on them, but they're constantly popping up on on the front page and everything, on the recommended, all that. Yep. So, now I have a big catalog of videos and, do a lot more views than I used to. So like that's a substantial part of my income now is YouTube ad revenue, which is like crazy to even think. And then the other big one is brand deals. And I'm sure a lot of people have questions around how to get sponsored or how to get brand deals or how to hunt for a living, which isn't really a thing. There's obviously like a value exchange, and, it's not like you're just out there hunting and people are sending you free stuff and paying you to do it.
So I one question that I know that a lot of people have, and you kind of just covered it, but the hunting for a living thing, are you truly hunting for a living, or are you quote unquote like making content for that specific brand? If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So those the buckets that I just talked through are kind of like, those are my main ones. Yeah. But there's other ones out there, and I see everybody there's this spectrum right now that there's content creators, and then there's what I would consider like, it's kind of I hate the term, but like the influencers. So there's like influencers and content creators, and that's kind of like the two sides of the game, and it's a spectrum. So like most people exist somewhere in the middle there. I do my best to stay as far on the influencer side as possible. And where there's probably more money in the short term is on the content creation side, and I'll explain what I mean. All of these companies, especially like nowadays with TikTok and Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels also, YouTube Shorts, like the short form is the game. And they also still need photos and everything else, but they need daily content that they can post, and they don't always have the resources to have, deliver that themselves or have somebody in-house creating that much content. So they rely on content creators that they'll partner with, and a lot of those agreements, in my opinion, a lot of those are like, I think there's more money in those up front and like a short-term deal, but it's basically somebody creating content for the brand's use. So like, so like you guys work with Latitude, right? I work with Latitude. They're one of my best partners. So like Latitude, as far as I know, they have an awesome like creative team. They do a lot of this stuff in-house, but like it'd be like if they needed people to go out there and shoot photos and videos for them to use for their internal marketing, to post on the Latitude Outdoors Instagram page and YouTube page and all of that stuff. And then on the influencer side, and that's again where I try to exist more, like they just want me posting stuff on my channel. They want me creating whatever I want to create that's going to obviously share them in a good light. And everything comes down to driving sales, right? So like as much as we want to romanticize this and like, killing bucks and all this stuff, like you got to just, whatever you're doing, it has to drive sales. And I'll use, since I said Latitude, like I do a lot of like saddle hunting, educational kind of content on my channel, how to get into saddle hunting, reviews of different saddle stuff, how I modify my setups, and like those videos do pretty well. It also drives sales for Latitude because people click on that and they want to know how to get into saddle hunting. Yep. And then they go to Latitude's website and buy stuff. Yep. So those are kind of the two sides of the spectrum. I can't remember what your original question was.
You answered it because it was like, are you hunting for a living, which would be the influencer, or are you creating content for the brand, which would be the content creator?
Yeah. So it all comes down to adding value some way or another. So you're either using your skills to create photo and video assets, or you're using your audience to drive sales. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, is one of those things. And like my personal journey and my personal like long-term goals, like I think I've succeeded because I've been willing to do some of the less sexy stuff. Like we have mutual friends that are like, we would never do what you do.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And I hope people don't want to do what I do. But like, I genuinely do like sharing educational content, and like sometimes it feels tacky because, my circle of hunters is like as serious as it gets. They're very well accomplished. So sometimes when I'm putting out this content, I feel like a little lame, but like I just think about like all the people that, like if I could make videos for myself 10 years ago, like what would I teach myself? And that's kind of the frame of mind that I use. And
truly, I feel that the people searching for that content are those people.
Totally.
Because us, we're the minority. No, like we're the 10% out of the 90.
Probably less.
5%. Yeah. Like the people that take hunting as seriously as we do are not, that's not the audience that you should try to be, showing your content
and like that, for an example, when we have a new saddle hunter come over and try something on, like we have to step back and like realize they don't know what the bridge is, they don't know what the tether is, like all the stuff to make it work. And it's like, here's the saddle, put it on and jump up in the tree. Well, that's not an option.
They don't know how to lower that baby in a tree to get rid of the old hip
all the tricks. And it's just like, your point exactly. When you're making those videos, you're doing it for somebody that is looking to get into, we'll just use saddle hunting for an example, still like beginning steps to work up to the next step and everything else. Yeah.
So when you were starting out, let's just say that you were at 10,000 subs for easy math when you quit your job, you pursued this full time. Obviously, things were a little different back then. I mean, the YouTube market's really, people have really exploded on YouTube. But at that time, definitely a decent following, but not like a THP Seek 1 kind of thing. And you just mentioned how you wanted to be on that right side of the spectrum, which was the influencer. How did you get brand deals when you, don't take any offense to this, but at the time you weren't really an influencer yet? So how did you sell yourself?
Stubbornness.
Persistence.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, even still today, like it's just bull in a china shop. Just like, I mean,
Aaron's telling us he's a squeaky wheel.
try not to be too. I mean, I try to be. So I guess let me back up for a second because I want to have this conversation in a frame of light that's like, for one, I would say I hope I come across humble. Like I'm
No, you
not.
do.
I don't think I'm some big like.
No, you do.
I don't think I'm an influencer. Like I'm just like a normal guy.
And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
asking these questions, so like people trust me. Like
But-
you're fine.
But I don't want people to think that I think that I'm like this big. Anyways, so when I when I started trying to like pursue this and like make money doing this, and I basically had developed an audience that, again, like at the time I thought was pretty sizable and maybe relative to what the total YouTube market looked like at the time might have been a little bit bigger than what 10,000 might look like today. But I basically took my sales background, right? So my title was Senior Business Development Manager. So like I was tracking people down on LinkedIn, trying to figure out who the decision makers were. And, sometimes it was crafting a nice cold email to try to get in front of this person and, kind of progress things along from there. And just develop relationships is obviously what everything kind of boils down to. But so I would when I first started, I made a list of every category you could think of in the hunt space. So bows, arrows, saddles, mapping, like coolers, everything you could possibly think of, like in categories. And I did this all in Excel, made a list of every company. So when I go through those companies, and like there was obviously some I didn't want to reach out to, just brand reputation or whatever. And I strongly preferred to work with the brands that I was already working with. But so I'd basically try to track down who the marketing
Director was.
director, marketing manager, brand manager, community manager, whatever. There's a million names for these people. But I wish I could think back on all of the deals that I've done. And I haven't switched companies a whole lot. I try not to. I think it erodes both brand confidence in you, and it also erodes
some
your
credibility.
Yeah, you
almost.
definitely lose credibility.
Yep. Yeah, because you see those people, obviously, that every year they're with a different company, and every year they say this is the
It's
best
the
stuff ever.
greatest and the best.
And I try not to ever say that. Like, all these companies make incredible products. You can get it done a million different ways, a million different products. So I just try to share my genuine experience with these products. But so, anyways, I tried to track down who these people were and write a cold email compelling enough to hopefully lead to some type of conversation, whether that just be further emails, maybe try to get a call or a meeting off of that. And then came the fun part, because okay, finally got some responses. They're like, all right, what are you looking
do you
for?
want?
Like, what do you want? And
$10,000.
so like in the beginning, it's like, I'll sell my soul and my unborn children for just a chance at, saying I get paid by you guys. But again, there's nobody really out there, and there's nobody out. The whole reason why you probably want to have me on this podcast is because it's like there's not a lot of transparency about this stuff.
Yes, 100%.
So like
It's very hush hush.
even till this day, it's like I don't truly really know what I'm worth. I just like I have brands
That
say.
was one of my questions. Was like, how do you know what your worth
I mean,
is?
it's been a lot of throwing stuff at the walls and seeing what sticks, or like pitching ideas, and some get shot down, and some say, like, there's a couple that I've pitched and they're like, yeah, that number works for us. And I'm like, what? That number works? Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's my number now. So then the next company I talk to, that's my number. And, if everyone's saying yes, you're probably asking for not enough.
Not
and
enough,
if everybody says, it's just one of those things you got to feel out. And everybody is willing to do different things. Like, I think I bring a unique kind of like the product education, and some of the stuff that I do on my channel is different than what other people could offer. So everything is unique to, like, everything is case by case. And that's like, I know it's not what people want to hear, because they want to know, like, well, if I have 10,000 subscribers, like, how much should I charge? And
It's like there's a formula almost.
And I'm sure there is. Like, I've gotten to be friends with a lot of these marketing people now, and I need to sit down and be like, hey, I promise I won't use this against you, but like, what are the numbers behind it? Because there is. I mean, like, obviously, like they have to be able to calculate what the ROI is going to be. And there's, I mean, I have some idea, but like it's still kind of a guess for me.
Yeah.
And it's always a tough thing because brands, everybody keeps their cards close to their chest, right? Like they don't want to throw out a number,
Hush, hush.
and you don't want to throw out a number, and so you got to learn how to negotiate a little bit. And the biggest thing that it comes down to, and the biggest thing, especially I think if you are in a position where you can start to have some of these conversations and you're still working your like corporate job, your 9 to 5 or whatever it might be, is negotiating from a place where you're okay to walk away. So there's been lots of these deals that I'm not willing to do it for less. And like, I know how much work it's going to cost to do what you're wanting me to do. This is the number that I would be okay. I still think it's a great value to you. I think it'd be a win-win. But if for whatever reason that doesn't fit your budget, like I'm going to walk away and I'm okay with that. And a lot of times those are the deals you end up landing. And it's the deals, and it happens a lot in the beginning because, again, like when I jumped into this full time and was making very little, even a smaller deal meant a lot more to me than, it does now. So I was a lot more likely to like promise a whole lot for
a lot little.
not a lot of money. And I was happy to do it. And I think or the brands would say no because they could just like smell that desperation. So it's always good to negotiate from a point of leverage and being in a position where you're okay walking away. And ideally, like that's the case. There's only been one brand deal that I've taken that I've regretted, and it was just like a brand that just didn't. I basically try to work with best case scenario is brands that I already work with for products that naturally fit into my hunting style. As it is. So like. Yeah. I'm a saddle hunter. I do a lot of public land. Like mobile, saddle stuff is a no-brainer. Like I need, you wear camo. Camo's a no-brainer. Bow, no-brainer. But like this one was like a category that I kind of had to force a little bit. It was like some turkey hunting stuff, some blinds, and like they offered me at the time, like, and this was like kind of that transitionary period, quite a bit of money. And like the products I thought were good, like genuinely. But it just wasn't a company that I really cared to associate with.
It wasn't. It didn't fit your style.
Yeah, it didn't fit my style, and it was just that was the one deal that I've taken that I kind of forced. And again, I kind of needed that money at the time, and so like was what it was. It helped get me through, and I was thankful for it. And I tried to deliver to the best of my abilities, but I was happy to like let that one expire and be done with it. All the rest of the deals that I've ever done, I try to make them like reoccurring long-term deals, like they're not short-term or 1 year
just
and
one
they're
and
done.
done. Yeah.
Do you remember your first like big deal? And you don't have to get into specifics, but like, do you remember?
I remember my first deal ever was basically I'd reached out to a company, pitched them on out of all things, we joke about the whole turkey hunting thing, but I was taking this out-of-state turkey trip and pitched a brand that me and this other guy had in common that I wasn't getting paid from. He was getting paid from him. And I was just kind of like, I don't remember getting free stuff from him at the time. And I said, hey, I'm doing this big trip. We're going to make a sweet video. I just want my tags and flight paid for. And they sent me a $500 gift card. And I was like, yes. But then that turned into the following year, like actual year-long paid kind of ambassadorship type deal. Right. And so, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you guys have anything while I check my notes? Because Aaron, honestly, you covered a lot of what I had.
No, not really.
I was going to say I had like...
Financially speaking.
Yeah.
Because I know that we kind of wanted to touch base on some of like the hunting stuff. Is that where you kind of
going? Well, yeah, and you even covered, like, I had one of the questions was, like, what's your niche in this industry? And you already kind of went over that, too.
I guess
like, to some extent.
Yeah, I guess on that topic, because I think that's one thing I do think it's important. Like, companies are going to, like, how are you, if a company is evaluating you, you're hitting up a brand, you're cold DMing them, which very low odds of having success, but, like, I've done it successfully, and it happens. But like you have to differentiate yourself from other people. And, I think a lot of people think that just killing big bucks is the answer. And if you kill big bucks, you should get deals. And if you kill enough big bucks, maybe that would be the case. But I don't think there's really anyone out there that can kill enough big bucks that alone can sustain
Right.
some type of brand relationship. So you have to like, what do you do differently than other people? And again, I think mine was this like educational product reviews, like a lot of that kind of stuff was what appeals to these brands. So you just got to kind of figure out what your jam is and run with it. But then the other thing I was gonna just touch base on, you didn't ask about it specifically, but just like different ways to like, how can you actually get in touch with these brands? And again, I did it like the old school way, like, you know, I'm Googling on LinkedIn and just anything I can possibly do to try to get these people's contact
Show
info.
up at their door. Knock, knock.
Everything short of that. But like the best thing that could possibly happen is to get an introduction and get a warm intro. Like if you can get a warm intro from somebody, like if you worked with a brand that I was interested in and you could vouch for me, like that goes so far that you basically skip to the front of the line because, you know, that all of that, like
They trust you.
They trust you. The trust is there. So like your net worth is your network. No, your network is your net worth is the saying. And like over time, I've developed a pretty vast network. I mean, I've met you guys. Like, there's a lot of other people that I've met, and it's cool because like obviously we love talking hunting. It's like what we probably do as much as we possibly can is talk to our friends about deer hunting and what hunts we have going on and bucks and all this stuff. But it's another thing to be able to have a circle of friends that you can talk hunting and business with. That's like my favorite. Like people that are actively growing their podcast or their YouTube channel or whatever it might be, even just like a content creation agency kind of thing. Like it's cool to have those friends, and it only comes with time and meeting people. But I took my cameraman that I took to Kansas with me this last year. He was working. He's still working a corporate job, and he only had so much PTO. So I wanted to be hunting the first day of his PTO, and it's a long drive to get out there. So I was like, hey, you're going to be working remotely in the car to like save us some time. Like, do you care if I'm on the phone? He's like, no, not at all. So I just like banged out 6 hours worth of calls, like touching base with all of my friends in the industry. And, you know, and it's not all to like it. There has to be like, it's not to use these people. Like, they're genuine friends of mine. I do anything I can to try to elevate them or to put them in different positions or to get them in touch with people that I know. And it's not just so they'll do the same thing for me eventually, although that does happen quite a bit. But I don't know. I just kind of have this mindset that like, if you help enough people get what they get, and if whatever they want to get, like it's all going to come back around and you're going to get your opportunities as well. And the other thing I'll say about all of this, there's enough room for everybody. Like, I don't think like if you guys all of a sudden blow up, like that doesn't take anything away from me.
Right.
And I think in the beginning you kind of have that scarcity mentality, and it's really easy to get jealous or, you know, to look at somebody and say, well, you know, I'm better than him. I should have a bigger platform and stuff like that. So
I find that extremely true in like in the podcast realm, because like in video creation, you can see the logistics. Like you can see how somebody's doing, but in the podcast space, you have no idea. So like I've reached out to some other podcast hosts or whatever you want to call them, channels, et cetera, and like, hey, what are your logistics? What are your numbers? Like, what's your downloads? Dude, talk about top secret.
Yeah, they won't say anything.
Nobody tells you anything.
why do you think that? Why do you think it's not public? Like
I
any
don't
other
know.
like Facebook, you can see how many likes and followers and everything else.
I will tell you one thing.
It's even hard for us.
for us. Because, like, you know, I know that Caleb and I have, you know, in our group chat have talked about, like, it's hard for a podcast to even find their own numbers. Like, you have to jump through hoops to, like,
Get the legit number.
yeah, to, like, and then half of it's not even, like, half of it's like, okay, you've got this month span of, okay, here's your downloads within a month. So then, or 6 months or whatever. So then you have to like sit there and like do the math of like, okay, I you know, we created X amount of episodes, divide by it, you know, and it's just like, I wish that there was a way that, you know, listeners could see what people are doing. And I wish we could see what people are doing, because, and then even like, Apple used to have the, you know, like the top 250 chart or whatever, and I think that they kind of got away from that. you could like hop on there and go in like the wilderness section, and like you could see like the top 250 podcasts. But as we were on there quite a bit, and I kind of thought like, wow, like surprising that we're on there based on some of these other podcasts that I'm looking at, and I'm like, they're significantly bigger than us. But the algorithm was super weird. It was like how much you grew from the last episode, and then it was like how much you've improved over like X amount of time. So, you know, even though say we were top 100 one week, there could have been a podcast that's significantly larger than us, you know, say number 200, but because we grew X percent that next week.
Yeah.
So like it just didn't make any sense. And I guess to tie that all in, I'm not sure why people are so hush hush about download numbers, but I think that as host of podcasts, and our brand is obviously a podcast, like when we negotiate you know, deals with other companies and stuff, obviously we're sharing that. But like I would love to know like what other people's are. And we do have some friends that also have podcast, you know, mutual friends of ours, and then we had a friend who we'll have on here very shortly. But he had a fairly successful podcast, and he was telling us his numbers. We're not far off of his numbers, but still, like, it's kind of frustrating in my mind, and I don't know where I was going with that, but
You were just ranting.
yeah.
So if you want to get paid to do this, start a podcast because nobody can see how
Yeah.
well you're actually doing.
Seriously, dude, I'm not even joking. So it is what it is.
So
but-
on a YouTube video, what's the time frame somebody has to watch for like a view? Do you know?
I don't know.
I didn't
either.
know if it was like you click on it and it starts playing and that's another view for you or what. Because like on the podcast, it's like 30 seconds or 45 seconds for like it to count sometimes. And
I
like,
think it's more than that.
and like
I thought it was
Apple's
minutes.
different than like Spotify
Spotify.
and stuff too. So like it's very weird.
I would imagine if somebody watches any of a video, it would count. But one of the metrics that brands do look at is like your average view duration because like I'm talking to a brand right now that I'm excited about, but that was one of the things that they asked for because if your average view duration's 5 minutes of your,
40-minute video.
5 minutes and, you don't talk about their product until 10 minutes,
Yeah.
like they're missing out on that impression. So so to your point, like that matters.
Yeah.
Even if it counts as a view, it might drastically lower your average view duration, which would hurt you ultimately.
My last question when it comes to like finances, and then I kind of want to ask some hunting questions, but we probably have all seen the videos in the earlier days of THP when they're digging quarters out of their backseat of their cars and stuff like that. Was there ever, and I know your situation is a little bit different because you had to be at a big piggy bank, but was there ever a time where you thought, oh crap, like I'm running out of funds? Or did you, and I don't mean to get like personal, but like, was there ever a time where you were looking at your saving account and you're like, I may have to go back to corporate America?
Thankfully, no. There was a lot of pressure to make this a full-time income. So to say it was all just smooth sailing and easy peasy, definitely not the case.
Like, was your wife ever just like, Aaron,
Need to bring home some more jam.
go back and make me some bank? Those Amazon packages need to show up.
Yeah. Well, she's I'm sure a lot of wives are like this, but it's like I feel like every time that I come downstairs or wherever I enter the room, she's like, so I've been thinking, and I'm like, here comes a project or a purchase. I know it. Like I was like, what are we buying or what am I building?
Yeah.
And
What color paint do you
so-
think looks good?
So, there was definitely some conversations that I'd have to be like, hey, like, that just can't be a priority right now. And there was never a point, like, we were never in that dire of a situation. But as a man, like, you feel that we're like, even, like, up until, like, the last 6 months to a year, like, from the time I quit, like, again, I basically went from making a lot to barely
making much.
anything.
Yeah.
Clawing my way back over time, and like there's definitely a hit to the pride when it's like your wife, your wives are the breadwinner, and like I'm kind of dragging down.
Easy now. I like how Aaron looks at me and he's like, "Oh crap, his wife is the breadwinner." And then he looks over at you guys.
I don't know what any of these guys' situations really are.
Easy.
But like
Shots fired.
it hurt because it's like I feel like I should be able to provide more, and I'm not at this time. But like,
Trust me, I understand that.
So-
Like, I truly, you guys can make as fun as Everybody knows that my wife's a doctor on this podcast and stuff, and like, trust me, we live very humbly. Like, I've got an older truck, she's got an older car. Like, we have a decent house and stuff, but it's like, I get it, and there is pressure because like, as a man, not even as a man, but spiritually speaking, like. Scripture says that we are supposed to be the breadwinners. So like on a spiritual level, it's a struggle for me because I sit here and I make decent money. Like, we could live off of my income if we severely cut back. But
No, it's just funny.
what are you laughing
No,
at?
it's just funny.
But it's like I understand what you're saying because like you don't want that pressure on her.
Right.
If we can't make the mortgage, it's not because of her, it's because of me,
I think the biggest thing for me is that like when I feel myself getting frustrated because she wants to buy certain things, and that happens in any relationship, especially like money is like it's a thing. Like so like things that she prioritizes are like way down here for me, and like buying land is like top for me, and it's probably not even on her list. So. But when I feel myself getting frustrated that she is buying something or wants to buy something or wants to do this big project that's like, sanding down our hardwood floors and restaining them because she hates the color. And I'm like, honestly, I could live here my entire life with them the color they are, and that's fine.
Yeah, who cares?
But when I feel that frustration, like I always like take a pause, and it's like, I shouldn't be frustrated with her. Like, I need to look at myself, and it's like, dude, be a man and like make enough where like you want that, like we can
do it.
And obviously like
To an
within
extent.
reason,
Yeah.
within
Right.
reason, like definitely.
We understand. Yeah,
So, anyways, nothing super dire, thank God.
you were digging for quarters or anything?
No, thankfully not.
Well, I'm glad. All right, anything finance or anything kind of like within the industry that you guys had questions about?
So I guess one question would be like camera equipment or editing equipment. What do you wish you would have had sooner to make your life easier, better footage, whatever?
Yeah, that's a good one. On the cameras, so last year was last year?
2 years. I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were going to say a cameraman, but you had a cameraman 2 years.
I've had cameraman for 3 years.
So, sorry, 3 years.
I mean, cameraman's a luxury for sure. I mean, there's no arguing that having somebody else documenting the entire trip is like, it's literally a different perspective
it's
than
a night and day.
you vlogging and holding your thing and trying to do all the stuff. The biggest thing that was life-changing for me was going from, I had a guy that I worked with help me build this custom PC, like you were kind of talking about. It's like a gaming computer, basically, and souped it all up, built it all custom, and that was my editing station, and that was great. But I was like shackled to this desk, and I could never move. I could never edit or go work elsewhere. So the best thing I ever did was get like a nicer MacBook Pro, and that way, thing's a beast. I can edit anywhere. I still basically just sit at my desk all the time with it. I barely ever don't edit there. But that's been the biggest thing. The camera stuff is like, it's easy to look at the cameras and say, hey, if you get a nicer camera or this lens or whatever, like you can make a better video or a better story, but that's really not the case. Like you could use, look at like Bill Winke right now is a good example of like, most of his YouTube videos are just filmed on some type of action camera with a mic, like probably similar to what you got right there. And then like, I don't know what he films the hunts with, but probably some type of camcorder. Like THP just runs like camcorders for the most part, like camcorder and an action camera. And as long as you're documenting everything and filming everything and can talk to the camera a little bit, like you're going to have a way better story than somebody has a really nice mirrorless camera with all the fancy lenses who can't compose a story. So it's easy to spend time and money thinking about, like put a lot of focus on the camera gear, but
if you don't use it creatively or correctly, it doesn't benefit you in the long run then. Yeah.
No, I would agree. I think the editing software and the computer, the component that you edit on is more important than the camera, because like for example, my laptop it's a MacBook Pro, but it doesn't have enough RAM to like run efficiently, and like 4K, dude. If I run 4K on my laptop, it crashes every time. I can't do anything. I have to render it into a lower format, and then it's just. So everything we do is in 1080p because I'm too cheap to, buy a $4,000 laptop. But
everything's going to 6K and 8K now.
yeah, we're behind the times.
But on YouTube,
people.
it all looks the same. I feel like.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's based like truly like if you have a decent TV, like you can't tell the difference. I don't know. It's just my opinion, but
I would agree with that.
Anything else before I hop on to the? I have 2 questions hunting related. You can answer them however you want. The first question is, how do you balance killing what you want versus killing for content? And then the second question, because they kind of tie together, is because you have to kill to stay relevant and have the content, like obviously you can't be out there, you can't be credible if you're not having the harvest. Explain to me why you feel that so many big name guys get in trouble poaching or doing stuff illegal to get that content. Like the pressure obviously has built so much that they're willing to shoot something
to bend the rules in their favor.
Exactly.
So your first question was, how do I balance killing what I want versus just killing for content?
Correct.
So that's a tough one because, obviously you need kills on camera.
Yep.
But that said, people don't really care about little bucks getting killed. Like those videos don't really do that well. So I will say, and this is like something I've discovered. It's not like every year I put a lot of pressure on myself to want to do, but part of me thinks that I'd be putting pressure on myself to attain a certain level of success, whether I had the channel or not. Like I'm a type of person that likes to get better and grow and advance and set the bar higher every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like why I started the channel, was because I wanted to get better and have basically like a way to hold myself accountable and document all of that. But that said, something that I've kind of discovered is like, because every year comes around, I'm like, I'm going to kill 1 million giant bucks, and then I don't. And nothing happens. My channel's okay. My brand partners don't leave. And it's because I've built this foundation that's not solely based on killing
giants.
Big deer. Like a lot, this obviously more the merrier, but like this last year I put out 2 hunting films. The rest of the 45 videos or whatever I posted were other things. Mm-hmm. And they performed, hundreds of thousands of views and drove lots and lots of revenue to these different brands. So for starters, being able to separate like the channel success from the hunting success has been something that's taken the pressure off me to perform. But like the buck that I killed this year, I only killed 1 buck. And like, there's part of me that's like embarrassed because like I had lots of opportunities.
And we rag on you pretty hard about it too. Especially Caleb.
All the time. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, well, anyways. I don't want to open up that can of worms.
He wanted me to ask you how it feels that how did he word it? A part-time hillbilly killed 3 bucks in 3 sits versus a full-time guy.
Oh, dude, it's because he only hunts private land.
Oh.
If I was born into all that prime ground that they got, I'd be whacking bucks too. No, but so anyways, the bucks that I want to kill are the ones that I'm killing. Like obviously, like the goal is always to continue to elevate, continue to raise the bar. I'm doing a bunch of things this year that are hopefully going to help me do that. But then getting into, and we can talk about some of that if you want, but to your next point, like, why do these big name people get in trouble because they feel the need to bend the rules or to poach or whatever? And part of me doesn't think it's pressure. I think it's greed, and I think those are different things.
So you really think that they're not like, oh crap, I'm going to lose my job?
I think it's an ego thing.
I think it's an ego thing.
You think they want to be the best?
I think they they want to be perceived as the best.
That's what I'm getting at.
But yeah, like, I mean, if you think, I mean, I'm sure people, I don't want to.
I got a name in my head.
There's names that come
Spit
to
it
mind.
out,
Bomar.
Josh.
Yeah. I don't care for the guy to start
You
with.
said
So
Don't say anything, Aaron. Don't get
yeah.
in trouble.
I was thinking like Chris Brackett, like that's
Yeah.
like Bomar,
Yeah.
like we all like think we know what happened,
Right,
but like
right.
it's kind of gray area. Like Brackett's was on video, like
Right.
you watched him shoot
And
a buck, and
yeah,
then he
and-
shot another buck and cussed out the cameraman and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me with Brackett was the way he talked to his cameraman.
Yep.
Like that was like, holy cow! No wonder the dude turned in the footage.
Yeah, but I don't think Chris Brackett poached that buck because of deliverables to brands. He had already
Yeah.
shot the buck.
Right.
He already had shot one buck that could, if he had to get a kill on camera in that state, like he could have.
it would have qualified for it.
So I think it's greed. I think it's, and that, I guess that is also something that's easily tripped over, like a hazard in anything, right? Like if you're even just working your corporate job, like, you say like, when I hit six figures, like then I'll feel like I really made it and I'll finally be happy. Then you get to
But then you're-
100,000,
you're
now I want
always-
to make 120 and then 150, and like it's never enough. And
That's just human greed, man.
that's human nature. And I think if people think they can get away with doing certain things, and they're going to do it. And that's why you got to have some type of morals and ethics.
Yeah, or no Jesus.
That was what I was kind of getting
Yeah.
to. But yeah,
That helps. That helps. But yeah,
I would agree with that. I think it's a lot of it's ego and greed.
I don't know.
there's plenty of people that poach that don't have any brand deliverables and
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
any brand deals,
Is
and they
that-
just do it
wanna
to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I probably would agree after that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How far are we, kid? We're a little over an
Just
hour.
over an hour.
Yeah. Not bad.
I don't have anything on my show notes, and I know Aaron's covered quite a bit. Yeah. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about is I do have your out-of-state camp/vehicle setup, and then that's the only thing that I have on my list of things that trade shows, seminars. Kevin said something about moving to Iowa,
Yeah.
but I
Seems
mean,
like a lot of
I can't get my wife on board.
Yeah.
I've tried. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, I wouldn't even have to travel. We bought land. I could kill $3 in one state.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to live out there.
Yeah, my wife doesn't either. So what's funny is like because nobody wants to live in Iowa, like she could like double her salary out there because of just like the demand and need. And I'm like, we're very blessed with what she makes now, and I'm looking at like what
Double that?
I'm like, okay, hold on. We could own like a 500-acre farm like tomorrow if we moved.
I could
out.
hunt full time. Yeah. Not do any of this stuff.
I'm like, why are we not moving to Iowa? But in reality, like I couldn't leave you guys. I couldn't leave family. Like I'm a big homebody. Like I'm a mama's boy.
I could make more friends.
if you're
Kevin's
making
like-
that much,
Kevin's
you're
like,
taking
I
us
could leave
with you.
Yeah.
For real. Tell Sarah just pick up Schmedley's and
Yep.
move it, and we'll.
Is there a lot of trainees out there?
I'll be. Hey, there's sure not that type.
Well,
Sure.
But yeah, no, I find I've asked my wife as well, like on a serious, like, hey, have you ever thought about it? She's not on board either.
Yeah, I think we'll be here. We'll be here for, maybe forever. There's a good chance we'll be here forever. But that's always a conversation. Like, okay, like not Iowa, but like, where could you live that might be more advantageous for what we do?
You know what stinks about, and we'll get into a little side note rant, but so I was listening to the Hunter podcast today coming home from work, and they were talking about like buying a farm, and like we were just talking about wanting more and more and more and more. Like I'm very blessed to have 30 acres behind the house, but like I want more. And I'm trying to like, they're talking about like multiple revenue incomes and like this and that. And like they were talking about, and they were being honest about like what they paid per acre. And they only paid $8,000 an acre for their stuff in Illinois. And I'm like, and they kill good deer out there, giants and like all this. And I'm thinking to my head, like, we live in the absolute worst area in mankind to purchase land, because like even the Amish rich area that I'm in, like stuff's going for like 10 to 15,000 an acre. You go near where like you're at, you're talking like 20, 30,000 an acre. If you go near Worcester, I mean, a property sold for like $42,000 an acre like last week.
It's insane.
Like even if you had even if I had $1 million gifted to me,
That's
it wouldn't even make sense to buy
no,
it here.
it's a stupid investment because sooner or later the bottom's going to drop out, and it's like
See, I don't even know that that's true, but I
know. I don't think that's true. I
don't
think the
I
bottom's
shouldn't
gonna
say the
drop out.
bottom.
I wish it
drop
would.
out, but it's like at some point, like you have to realize that
Nobody's gonna live. Yeah,
how
I know.
like it's got to end somewhere.
You would think so, but I don't see an end in sight in our area.
But like, so one of them was talking on that podcast. One of them was talking about like, yeah, I hear prices in Ohio that are like 15,000 an acre. I would never even if there was the best deer hunting in the world. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, I want to add on to what I already have at my house, and maybe down the road there could be a possibility that I could like purchase some of the land around me. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I know a farm just 2 miles down the road sold for like 9,800 an acre. So I'm like, okay, so if I want to be competitive,
You're gonna be close
I
to
gotta
that.
be around 10,000 an acre. For what? To maybe see 5 deer a year?
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, does that make financial? Like, is that smart for me to do that? Or should I go down to, like Northern Kentucky where it's like in the boondocks and spend $2,000 an acre and buy 200 acres?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, the buying the land thing for me is like very, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what I went down a rant. I apologize, but
No, but
I don't
for
even know
real,
what started that rant.
This area is the worst.
Oh,
It is
that's
the
what
worst.
started the rant, was that you moved to literally the most expensive.
Yeah.
super expensive. There's no public.
No,
Yeah.
it's like if you wanted to be a influencer like yourself, you definitely moved to the wrong. No, rewind. If you wanted to be a good father, a good husband, and a godly man, you're in the right neighborhood. Because like you mentioned it, Medina, the Medina area. If you Google Medina, it's like top 5 places in the United States to live. So it's like,
Yeah, the other big thing is we have a lot of friends and family here, so when I am traveling and doing these different trips,
It helps with your family.
yeah.
we got grandparents and come help. Like
Yeah.
Grandpa was at the house today, so I could be here with you guys because
Yeah.
Shout out, Grandpa.
bedtime with a 8-week-old baby and a crazy toddler is not super fun right now. So it's probably impossible to do solo. So yeah,
Yeah.
Well, my wife could move. She
Iowa?
has said that. I mean, just
Anywhere.
she's always talking about moving out west, and I'm like,
No, don't go out west.
she probably wants to go
I could be a
further
lot
west
closer.
than
I could be a lot closer to Iowa.
So, but like, think of this as like a hunting aspect. If we lived in Iowa, you could almost drive like within
Out west
8
or back
hours and
to the
be
east.
anywhere you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Sure beats 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I saved a bunch of drive time by coming from Michigan to Ohio, but we're so far east that
Yeah.
any ground that I saved by coming south, we're just further east now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Ohio, even though Ohio does have some giants, and I'm not going to lie about it, like we have some big deer, but unfortunately, I don't know why. Maybe, do you truly think it's the Amish community? Why are prices so expensive? Or just the demand of,
Just
certain sections are for sure 100%. It's
Like-
because of the Amish community.
I just don't understand why land prices are so expensive.
but also too, like, I feel like the towns and cities are growing, and it just drives the market up too.
Yeah.
That doesn't help any.
Yeah.
had to be the COVID boom. Like people can work remote or hybrid, so they're like sprawling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then isn't there some big computer chip company that
Data center in
Mhm.
Columbus
Something.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're buying up a ton of stuff?
It's all the
and
guys moving from Michigan coming down to Ohio.
Yeah,
Sorry.
those darn-
I'll go back. Hey, they might go back to $1. So
Did,
Yeah,
but
but
did
they-
you see
yeah.
they're gonna start baiting again, or
They might,
possibly allow
yeah.
that?
No,
Yeah.
I was told Vince
Vince?
texted me and said they passed it.
bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
Never
you-
mind, it's not going back.
Now you can go shoot your 6 over corn.
I don't understand that. That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Take it away. Everything kind of
I think what
benefits
didn't-
and grows,
Aren't
and
they
then
going to charge the baiting fee though?
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's what it is. They want
just
the,
for some revenue.
Don't
on
quote
that.
me on that. That might be right or not right, but I think I heard through the grapevine that they were going to charge like a baiting tax
permit or something.
That
Yeah.
I don't know.
A CWD isn't a thing anymore.
Not when it
Not when you get paid for
yeah,
it,
not when
yeah.
you get money. Yeah.
So dumb.
All right, Aaron. Well, I don't have anything unless these guys do.
I think
Unless
we covered.
That was pretty
you
good.
have some final thoughts that you'd want to.
Final thoughts. It's a long, hard road, but it's worth it, and it's 100% worth it. So like, if people are out there and have this desire, like, just scratch, claw, figure it out along the way. You don't need to have the whole thing road mapped for you. Just take the next step, take the next step, take the next step, and you might never truly arrive. Like, I never feel like I've arrived. Like, I will say, like, this, even the last month, I've had a couple of days where I was like with people and they're like, dude, you did the thing. And like, I have to kind of like stop for a second. It's like, I kind of did do the thing.
Yeah.
And you just stumble your way through it until it happens. But yeah, you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, our finances are covered. I'm doing this thing. So like, now I'm playing with house money and like,
Let's gamble.
let's go. So yeah.
Very cool.
Well, thank you, sir, for coming on, and I do want to thank you for being honest. I know that I kind of jokingly texted you this morning, was like, I'm going to ask you some questions, and but like, I do appreciate you being honest and sharing some stuff, because like you said, a lot of this is in the dark. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to share their experiences, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Why don't you leave your handles where people can find you on socials and YouTube and stuff, and we'll wrap it up.
Everything is Next Step Outdoors. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Next Step Outdoors. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Check it out. He actually has some really cool hunts. Your 4x4 tour was one of my favorites last year, and then
yeah, it
like
was good.
your Kansas video this year was. I really enjoyed that.
Shout out Dylan.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Alrighty. Remember, it doesn't matter what you have done in the past. You can always be born again, and born again is out.
Peace.